I'm sure. And so the title is very much what most authors feel when they bring out a book. It is a reflection of their personality. I can't say the same experience is true of bringing out a commissioned coffee table book, of which I have done several now. And most people invariably ask me, how is it after you have brought out a coffee table book? I always tell them that it is like having your 10th or 11th child. ரெண்டு கண்ணு ரெண்டு காது மூக்கு கழுத்து கை எல்லாம் இருந்தா சரி அதுக்கு மேல அது கிட்ட கொண்டு வராதீங்க போறோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி you push it off to one corner and then you don't deal with the book thereafter. And I also realized that unlike these books, which are a work of passion, a coffee table book is one more of a matter of duty. And it was brought home to me with brutal frankness from the first client who commissioned me to do a coffee table book. 300 pages of hard work, 400 photographs, proofreading, editing, rewriting and everything, and finally the book comes out, it's being released, and he hisses into my ear, don't worry, nobody is going to read it anyway. This is right in the middle of the release function. The other matter that really commended me to this book is it's very nice and small, easy to carry, so when you release it there's no danger of dropping it. So there was this book that I did for Karur Vysya Bank, and I must say the client wrote most of the book themselves after I had been paid off. And then I was invited for the book release, and nobody told me that the book had burgeoned and burgeoned and burgeoned. Photographs of the board of directors again and again and again and again and again. And finally, they never told the President of India the weight of the book. So Mr. Pranab Mukherjee is told, now you will release the book. And then two aides de camp bring the book and they dump it in his hand, and he was because he never thought that the weight was of that great an extent. Having struggled, he finally released the book, or as he said, released the book and unleashed the book, more or less. The same thing happened a year later when there was a coffee table book with a flyleaf jacket, so heavy that the chief guest was left holding the flyleaf jacket and the book had crashed on his toe just a moment before he released it. So none of those dangers in this volume. But jokes apart, I thoroughly enjoyed reading the book. That is the, to me that was the great takeaway at the end of this whole thing. I also realized, like Valmiki's Ramayana, that a moment of great sorrow is what really spurred Padmini to take this book and finally bring it out. Valmiki says that, the Ramayana begins with Ma Nishada, the shloka, which curses the hunter for having separated two Krauncha birds at a moment of great happiness, and that is how the Ramayana really begins. Similarly, for Padmini, it was the separation from her child, Aparna Kamakshi, who is really the spirit of this book. She is there in every page of this work, and she is the one who really brings the book to life. Padmini is more of a narrator in this work because she is looking at everything from Aparna Kamakshi's point of view, and at every stage Aparna is consulted in this book. No matter
could match the 60-year association that you did. So it was wonderful to have Aparna and Padmini work for us at the Kalki group of publications. Aparna she first wrote a serial for Gokulam English, to the magazine for children. Unfortunately, it's not in publication now. It ceased to be published now because the ends don't meet. And that speaks about a lot for the publishing industry. Well, she did so well that we thought we should take her on board, and at that time the management decided to start a new magazine called Gokulam Caliber Comics, and Aparna came on board as a sub-editor to turn out picture stories month after month as a magazine. And mind you, it was very, very difficult work. But Padmini used to accompany her to the office quite often, and they would both sit and do that grueling work with so much of passion. And I think we produced about more than half a dozen issues, but again, it couldn't make ends meet, so it had to stop. But that brief association with Aparna and Padmini made us such good friends, and the association continued for a long time. And I too read with much admiration her Nostalgia and My Love for Lodge. So I'm very happy to be here and share a very proud and a rare moment for the author. I love the title, Be the Book. I wish we could all be the book. Anyway, I have bought the book. I bought the first copy. I've set an example, I hope. And I would also like to congratulate Padmini's husband Ganga, who is here and who shares her lovely sense of humor. If you have read My Love for Lodge, you know that. Very happy to be here with Sriram and the rest of you, and to be a part of this wonderful Madras week celebrations. Thank you so much.
எனக்கு இது நானும் என் பொண்ணுமா சேர்ந்து கடைசியாக வந்து இந்த புத்தகம் வந்து நாங்கள் முதல்ல செல்ஃப் பப்ளிஷிங்கை பற்றி என்னெல்லாம் நாங்கள் கஷ்டப்பட்டோம், எப்படி பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு பாயிண்டர்ஸ் எல்லாம் கொடுத்து ஒரு செல்ஃப் ஹெல்ப் புக்காக எழுதுறத ஆரம்பித்தோம். ஆனால் கடைசியில் வந்து எந்த காரியம் பண்ணினாலும் அதோடு நம்ம வந்து கொஞ்சம் ஏதாவது லேர்ன் பண்ணணும். நம்ம வந்து that is we learn. நாங்கள் வந்து முன்னேற்றமும் ஏதோ கொஞ்சம் நடக்கிறது நம்மளுக்கு. அது மாத்திரம் இல்லை, பாதி வழியில் என் பொண்ணு இறந்து போயிட்டா. ஸோ எனக்கு வந்து என் பொண்ணு போனால் நான் என்ன பண்ணுவேன் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு துக்கத்தில் இருந்தப்போ நானும் அவனும் பண்ணிட்டு புஸ்தகத்தை நான் முடிச்சேன்னாக்க தான் எனக்கு வந்து மன திருப்தி வரும் அப்படிங்கிற எண்ணத்தோடு அதனால இதில் வந்து செல்ஃப் ஹெல்ப் மாத்திரம் இல்லை, ஸ்டோரி ஆஃப் our lives சேர்ந்து